the game after that third inning? Is he healthy?
Just some soreness, and we've kind of been harping to our players to communicate with us, you know, with what's going on, whether it could be anything. You know, you turn an ankle and it's sore, you got a blister, and he had some soreness in a certain part, really of his body. I don't know that it was necessarily arm, but I kind of leave that up to those guys, and maybe it's my mechanism. I don't have any control over it, so I don't want to stress it until we got the full word. But we had enough word that, you know, it was better off kind of taking him out of the game and giving the ball off the stomp there.
There been any concerns with him previously with that, or is it just kind of a random thing?
No. I mean, he's a guy who's, you know, fortunately put on some weight and, you know, added to his physique a lot and has kind of made adjustments. And I'm going over the course of his whole career, made some adjustments throwing program-wise. So he certainly put in all of his work, and I think he's dealt with a blister or something with finger before, but nothing that kind of attaches itself to this. So we'll await word.
How would you assess just the way he was able to work with runners on base today?
He was good. I mean, I think he kind of went, you know, almost like a hill or some sort of economic diagram there, where he started out low. Started out with not as good of command as he had. And a lot of times when you go, you know, scouting, whether you go watch your high school guys you're interested in or our guys, actually that second time out, you know, if you came out of the gates gun blazing, it's kind of hard to duplicate that 2 weekends in a row for whatever reason. And you know, stuff was good, but command wasn't as good. And then he kind of got rolling there for a minute, and then he reached a point where, you know, to kind of quote him to the training staff, he was kind of reaching back and giving it all he had. And he didn't feel like the ball was really coming out. So didn't start off as crisp, but really got in a nice rhythm there and kept it together with base runners on, kept his composure, and made some nice pitches off speed. And might have been just as good, if not better, as last weekend. Just the fastball command wasn't, and then eventually the whole thing got cut short.
What'd you think of Stamos? Looked like the only hit he gave up. I mean, the batter went down and just made a play on it.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's got more muscles than you know, 8 of me put together, and he really just kind of touched it, and it went. You know, a decent amount over the fence too. It wasn't like it was a wall scraper, but it wasn't a terrible pitch. He just kind of flicked it out of the park. I think where you avoid trouble maybe is forcing contact the guy in front of him, and who knows, maybe the guy in front of him gets a base hit and is on base anyway. But we probably could have bettered ourselves, or maybe you get better quote-unquote luck if you force contact from the guy in front of him. But all in all, to kind of come out in that quirky situation and warm up real fast, you know, he did exactly what we needed him to do. So you combine the two guys, you had a quality starter, however you want to term it in college, and then we handed it off to the guy that, you know, was so big for us last Friday.
What was your message to the team out there? Seemed a little spirited.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you got the music going, so I was just trying to make sure everyone heard me. But we covered like 14 different little things. It wasn't any one big topic. One was just the game time for tomorrow. I think we're going to bump it up. Well, I know we're going to bump it up to 12 o'clock. Just seems to be a little bit better weather. Maybe that way our guys can eat and shower and not rush to the basketball game if they're going to go check that one out. But in all seriousness, our focus will be on the game tomorrow, and we want to make sure we get a play. You know, we obviously have good competition here. Maybe not a name everyone's familiar with, but we want to accumulate some innings and get guys reps and improve our team. So what the main thing we were talking about out there other than that was improvement. Like, you don't just get better from February to May by playing. You make mistakes, you figure out how you can do them better. When things are going well, you make sure you kind of repeat those routines to an extent. So that's kind of a dumbed down version, quick version of what we're talking about.
Cal's getting the start, you know, here and there. What's he giving you out there? You've reached base a couple times a month.
Yeah, his approach at the plate was really good. You know, his presence is always good. He plays with good energy. He knows how to create rapport with Coach Anderson, who's got as high a standards as any human could ever have, and that's important with the pitching coach. It's obviously important with the pitchers. He does a great job at that. With the catcher, heck, there's even stuff that goes on with the other team maybe. I mean, he's just really good out there at the little things that give us an edge, and it was a difference maker for us last year in our season as we made a run. But I think overall this is going to be a better offensive year for him just because he's been through it. He knows what it looks like, and I think he's got a more mature approach to the plate, and that showed today.
You've tinkered with the lineup a lot at this point. Is there anything specific you're looking for? What's the winning formula there, or formula you guys would like?
No, I think the biggest formula is to try and spread the wealth a little bit and make sure guys are involved. And I think for us to know what exactly is the best lineup, or even for you guys, because there's a lot of you guys that put in, like yourself, put in a lot of time following our team and watching practice. I think for anyone to be like, man, that might be it right there, like use those 9 guys and maybe righty lefty match up this one spot, and maybe this guy's a pinch runner. I think we would need everybody healthy, and we would also need a fair amount of repetitions. There's some guys there whose stat line, you know, doesn't look as good as it will look by the end of the year, just because there's not a big enough sample size. So, you know, right now there is a rhyme or reason more times than not, but sometimes it's like, let's just try this, or let's try and get this guy, you know, bumped up in the repetition category. So hopefully we can utilize the rest of these non-conference games to do that.
Anything else?
What's behind Simo's surge into the season? He drove both ways tonight, found a walk. He continues to stay hot.
Yeah, I think he's progressed, you know, physically and mentally since he's been here. I mean, it's easy to see in the uniform, but also he's kind of done that mentally. And then I think as far as his swing goes, I think he's using his legs a little bit better. But other than that, it's a lot of repetitions, and you got a guy that has now played in Omaha. He was a big part of what we had going on the year before, only as a freshman. Went out and played with Team USA against phenomenal competition and the best players in the country. So I think a lot of that is in his back pocket right now and working for him as well.